I've got a bit of Bockingford, which I've already coloured. Now this I did, I sprayed it with water and then with some very dilute multi-surface paint, just dropped it on and then just let the pigment just seep through and dry. And then I'm going to use Lena, and I'm going to use her with some VersaFine Clair with black. Okay, now with this, I want to be a bit mindful that I want her face to be on a light area, like white. I don't really want it on dark.
Do you want to lose that?
Yes. So when you're actually positioning things, that's something to really sort of consider.
When you're designing, do you come up with sort of a personality for them? Do you imagine what Lena would be like?
Yes, I mean, you know, it's sort of, pictures are all about storytelling, aren't they, really? I mean, with illustration, you read the story, and I think when you're doing any sort of art, creative work, you're thinking about the story. So yes, I do.
What's her story in your eyes? What kind of character is she?
You know, she lives with the unicorns, isn't she? She's got a unicorn family.
It's a nice family to have.
Yeah. So there she goes. Isn't she lovely?
Mel described her as she is a poetic soul.
She is, and she's got such fine detail in there as well. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to find my little circle.
Did you dress up much as a child?
Yes, but I was dressing as a boy. I was always like a cowboy or something like that. I was never doing the pretty stuff. Yeah. My sister's always got to the fairy outfits first, I think.
Left you with the cowboy.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position this, because I want it to look like a moon. And for this demo, I'm predominantly going to work with pencils, lead pencils, not colouring pencils. I think we quite often, whenever we do pencil work, we always get lots of sort of comments on social media about it, because people really like it and aren't always very confident. So what we're going to do, I'm using here, I think I'm using a 3B. Now, with pencils, on the back of a pencil, you'll have an HB, and then you'll have then all the B numbers, and the Bs are, if you think of B as soft, so if you've got a 1B, that's softer than a B, and it goes all the way down. I think it goes to like a 10B, I think that's the maximum, which is really almost like pure graphite, and the B, the softness in it, is the graphite. If you go for H pencils, H is for hard.
So it'll be a hard graphite.
And yes, so if it's hard, it's got less graphite in it, which means you can't smudge it and make it go dark. So if you're an architect or something, or doing technical drawing, you would be using the H pencils. And I think actually that might go to a 10H as well. So in your pencil arsenal, you really want to have probably an HB sitting in the middle, maybe something like a 3B and a 3H, and you could almost get away just with that. So I would carry on working and adding more and more and more graphite. And if you want soft edges, if you think, oh, well, I can see line works where I'm doing my pencil, use your thumb or finger to smudge, or we can actually use the sense. Even if you've got lead on your finger, you can still use it to shade.
Just
you see?
We are. Oh yeah, that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Just while we are doing this, just to showcase your design team inspirations. This is Lena. I mean, come on, she is just so beautiful. And we are going to scroll the names of your design team at the bottom of the screen, and rightly so, because they are absolutely phenomenal.
And I think we've got some sent in as well, haven't we?
Oh, we have. Actually, we're going to show that from Maria.
Well, they're not. No, they're not actually Maria's. Maria has sent them in.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we had a box of samples that I've left behind. And so these are the images of them.
We'll do that. We will do that in a few moments. We'll do it after we finished.
Okay. I mean, I'm obviously not going to do the whole lot, but this is how I'd start. And this was just my mock-up, just to show you where this will eventually end. And that's all lead, other than a little bit of coffee.
Oh, now that gives it so much atmosphere.
Yeah, which I'll show you how I did that.
Yeah.
But what I shall do is I will get this piece finished and we'll post it on social media so you can actually see it done.
Okay.
But it basically is just lead work. I think actually sometimes you don't need to throw a whole load of colour at something.
Yeah.
As Mel said, you know, sometimes monochrome and single colour use is preferable to being, you know, having everything thrown at it. And so I'm using our multi-surface paints like watercolours. Yeah. They make perfect watercolours.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's how I would have done her. We've got a little bit on her arm.
Mm-hmm. And just literally, you just, with your multi-surface paints, they're water-based?
Water-based, so everything we do, all our pastes, our waxes, everything is water-based. Then it's so much easier for clean-up, there's not the smell going on, and we find it much more satisfactory than solvent-based stuff. So, you know, you can add your colours should you want to, but I'm wanting to do a little bit of a foreground, so I want to show you that as well.
Beautiful.
So she looks like she's sort of floating. Yeah. So what I'm going to do...
I love that, floating mindlessly as well, so she's not even thinking about it. Just staring at her friend, floating away.
Yeah, she is. So this is my slight mock-up, and the reason I did this was just so I could work out my positioning. I don't always necessarily go straight in, because when I do that, I think, oh, drat, I put it in the wrong place. So that's roughly where I want it to go. So with my mock-up and this, I can now just, and I want it to be quite random. I don't want it to be a nice sharp cut edge, because I'm going to do some watercolour on it after. So that's roughly where that's going to go. Okay. So I know that my trees, which are in, now these trees, hopefully I'm going to go on to this next if I've got time.
I like how, because between the sets, so you're getting 3 sets in our exclusive collection, so your Lena, Firestarter and Lupin, and you're taking your, so they all mix and match. We're taking the trees from Lupin, using them with Lena, equally the silhouette of the wolf with Lena would be nice.
Absolutely. I think they all blend really well together. So we're going to do first registration. Second,
so the tree we're working with now, just remind you, it's from our Lupin.
This is from Lupin, and I love this tree. It's fab, and we've got it in a small as well.
Oh, even that final registration, now it looks like there's real haze going on.
Well, I'm trying to sort of get like a slight moonlight effect, and I can see I've got a little bit of green on there, and I certainly don't want green on this piece of artwork, so just clean it off a bit. That's why one should always clean the stamps, really, in between, because otherwise you can get a bit of contamination. And then, so this is where I'm now going to put my torn bit on. Right. So I know that this is going to look like it's in the field behind, or the mountains behind. So I had that there. So 2, 3.
Rule of 3. Oh, 4.
4. Yeah, I might do a couple more actually. Yeah. Just the tips. It'd be rude not to, wouldn't it, really?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, fab. Love it.
Nice.
Yeah. So we can see now. We need to put in a horizon. Yeah. So again, I think I'm going to do that with the inky blue. Which is a little bit sort of cooler and darker than this blue here. And again, use it very dilute. It's better to go really dilute and apply, and then
build up.
And then add more and more, rather than the other way around. So we're going to just sketch in this sort of horizon here. And I want it to look like there's sort of shade behind. So we're going to go like this. And then I'm going to use just clear water just to sort of make it fade away.
It's an utter joy seeing you work, Cathie.
I love it. I love what I do. I'm so lucky.
You still do the time lapses?
Do you know what? We haven't done those. That was sort of pre-COVID, but we perhaps ought to come back and
I think so.
do a little bit more of that.
I always enjoyed watching your time lapse.
Oh, they were great, weren't they? So this will throw her forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Now I do want her to be all lead, but I'm just going to put a bit of colour around this side.
Okay. Well, this is pretty, but achievable. I mean, the techniques you show, we can all have a go at.
Yeah, and then clear water again. I don't want a hard edge, so just clear water so it goes to nothing.
I'm noticing how you are working with the water. This is where a cardstock of Bockingford's level really comes into its own.
It definitely does, because when you're using water on a not so good paper, it pills and it chalks, and also where you put your brush in, it kind of sucks it all up, and then you can't move it around.
Yeah.
So I don't use anything else now, Yanis, or this is all I use.
I mean, that says a lot. Right, we're going to continue the fun with Cathie, and this is just such a beautiful exercise in how to get the most from your stamps, because you've turned this into a wonderful story now.
Well, we're on the way to it. I mean, obviously, I'd really like to spend a lot longer on it, and because to really do it justice. But I just wanted to show basically how we get to here. There's just a few more things I want to show, but I'll just get this in a bit darker. But can you see how that lead work has really thrown it forward? And another tip, when you're working with a pencil, I mean, I very, very rarely use rubber for you know, if you're writing something or a line and you've drawn the line in the wrong place to rub it out. I generally leave lines in. But when you're smudging and sort of smoothing edges with your finger, sometimes the grey goes where you don't want it to go. So imagining that this is the moon. So when you use a rubber, I never ever just pick my rubber up out of my box and go like that, because 9 times out of 10 you'll find that there's some mark or something. You've gone like that and you've put this mark in that you'll never ever get rid of. So what I always do is I chop off a new bit. If it's like a proper piece like this, I chop it off and make sure that I'm rubbing with a clean bit of rubber. Or just rub a bit on your trousers just to get rid of any contamination. So we know it's got to be clean. And then with that rubber, you can go in. I mean, of course you can make it into a point then, but can you see how it's just then exposing the... Can you see?
Oh, yeah.
And you'll do more and more of that. And the same with her skirt and her wings. If I think that I've got a little bit of smudge on there, just with a very fine pointed rubber, just rub it out.
Nice.
So we're going to go like that. So I would carry on and do more and more and more. And I'm not going to stick it down because I want to do more pencil work and finish off, but I'd then put like some 3D gel glue, and then I'm going to do a technique that Gail does a lot, our design team member. She's so talented. They all are.
Oh, you've got a really good design team. I have to say as well, Cathie, I want to applaud you, because I'm thinking in my head that you are such a talented designer, and you do bring, I think what really makes you special and what makes you stand out is your background as an illustrator, because you draw that into your artwork. I mean, they are beautiful works of art, but you capture the personality, the essence, that innocence here with Lena, how she's just so thoughtful. She really has lost herself in thought.
Well, I think if you're working with an image, you've got to put that in, haven't you? So what I've done here is with our Stardust powders, I've literally just mixed water with the gold, and then I don't want any gold on her face. So I'm not going to stick it down, you know, it's going to be lifted in some areas, but just roughly. And I want it to look like say stars or something like that. So I'm just going to do some splodges of gold. Now these won't show up too well until it's properly dried, but then it needs to be quite watery.
Nice. So these are, I tell you what, I have got a pot as well. I'm just going to open up with the Stardust.
That's better. Oh yeah, lovely.
Can we, we're doing this, because you won't really appreciate it till we pick it up, but let me just show you this pot. Oh, look.
They are so sparkly. Ooh. And they go great in resin as well, if you want to colour your resin, and it colours it all the way through, and it's a really economical way of colouring them.
They're beautiful, and you only use such a sparing amount.
You do. Well, you get the idea of where this is heading. Like I say, I will definitely finish it off, and...
can I just pick that up and show everyone?
Of course you can, yes, absolutely.
I want to give it a tiny bit of a wiggle. Oh, so pretty. I mean, it is such a work of art. That's
sorry.
Isn't that nice?
But
so thoughtful.
But that is the depth of tone that I will be trying to achieve there.
Nice. Okay.
On that other piece.
Right, we're going to have a little play now. Yeah.
So what I wanted to also show you that how you can use the stamps for pattern building. So especially if you've got something that is quite regular.
That is so effective, and I would not have thought I've done that with the tree.
Isn't it fabulous?
Yeah.
So what I do there, how long have I got?
For just under 4 minutes.
4 minutes, right.
You got time.
Great. So I'm going to start with the big tree.
So this is the tree from Lupin?
This is the tree from Lupin. But actually, you don't even need, it doesn't have to be one that's sort of even, you know, as long as you're doing complete opposites.
Yeah.
So there's no measuring involved here. This is just, I'm basically looking at the trunk and just thinking of it as a line, and I'm just trying to make it right angles, that's all. Yeah. And I'm trying to keep the distance at the tip sort of equidistant.
Oh, okay.
But you know what, it's hand drawn, so it doesn't matter if you're a little bit out or quarters.
Oh, that's already, that's quite pretty, isn't it? Oh, it's very pretty.
Isn't it? And then I'm just going to go in with a different colour. And of course you don't have to do a full circle, you could do a semicircle. Yeah. This one I'm just going to go in with this little tiny one just to make it a little bit different to the previous one.
Okay.
Like this. I mean, you know, you could cut these out in star shapes and hang them from a Christmas tree or something like that, couldn't you?
Oh, that's pretty.
Do something really decorative.
Cathie, that's so pretty.
And I wouldn't stop at this. I'd carry it. I'd put like little stamps sort of in between and.
And this is just using effectively the scene builders, the worker stamps that you get with your Lupin set. So I mean, you'd be forgiven for jumping straight to that sort of hero image of the wolf, but. This is showing where you can go then after that.
Yeah, and then I think what I would also do, I would probably stamp it again, but I might do that in a different colour.
Okay, I don't think